Yes, yes, Sir Hairless here. Today we have a Patreon request. Thank you for this one. And it's a new artist to the channel, Tomi P. I don't know him, but from comments I have received about him in the past, he has an incredible range and produces and arranges his own videos. So he'll be singing with himself a cappella, which is always nice to see. The song, No Time to Die, it's from the recent Bond film of the same name. The soundtrack, this song, it was sung by Billie Eilish. She was only 17 at the time. And apparently Hans Zimmer did the orchestration. I wasn't too familiar with the song, to be honest. I have seen the film. So I just listened to the original a couple times to re-familiarize myself with it. It's very Bond in style, and I like how they, for example, throw in this. That's very iconic jump up the augmented fifth. Of course, that's just an homage to previous Bond films or songs. So yeah, that's about it for the information I have going into this one. I love Bond, I love a cappella, so let's get straight into it and see what Tomi does with it. Super high lines, way up in the upper octaves.
I should have known I'd leave alone. Just goes to show that the blood you bleed is just the blood you owe. Stupid to love you, was I reckless to hell? Was it obvious to everybody else that I fall?
Oh, there are some really nice arrangements. So rich, and yeah, I've been told about the range. He's a bass singer. The title of this video, make sure you go check it out. I'll leave it in the description. No Time to Die, Billie Eilish bass singer cover. So we can really hear, you know, almost like the basso profondo tones lower down, very natural sounding, but it's the upper register, like I mentioned very briefly mid-song earlier on, so incredibly high. I don't know how much of that will be enhanced with the software, but yeah, the range we're seeing is ridiculous. I'm going to pause now, just go over and point out some of the things that I find most interesting. There's a lot here to talk about. I could probably go on all day. I'm not going to. So if you don't want to hear my analysis, go to the timestamp. I was not expecting this start. Straight in. And then the next note. We get a nice minor triad outlined with the first 3 and 4 notes that we hear actually. And then the 5th note immediately comes in on note number 2 of the scale. If E is number 1, this is an E minor chord. Note number 2 is this F sharp here. Dissonance straight from the off. We know that there are going to be rich harmonies, as we've heard. And underneath it all, we get the, I'll call it the bass line, even though it's definitely not in the bass register just yet. Very Bond. We've all heard it before. It's high enough to be sung in falsetto. Kind of like a blended voice. So everything we're hearing pretty much is in head voice so far, and the range is still octaves that we're hearing. The clarity as well on the highest notes that we're hearing. Very pure tone on that E at the top. And I like the amount of air that's being used on the doos. They come in exaggerated, and then because of the air, they kind of fade out into nothing. Very chordal, almost choral, modernized bit of music. So they're really acting as the rhythmic driving force here. Vowel sounds becoming more open. We've gone from a lot of oohs to now ahs, more chordal, sustained chords. It feels bigger. And the line that's kind of the major turn here. We're getting up the octave as well. And the note here in between these two notes that we just heard is a top C. Typically, the highest note a soprano is expected to sing. If you can hear that at the top, very subtle. So yeah, a broken record I am, but huge, huge range.
I should have known.
Here now we're really introduced to the bass. There was that nice glissando, that slide up. Bit too low for me. Nice aesthetic as well, isn't it? Everything being black and white. And the arrangement, we don't have percussion. Things are kept almost quite reserved in line with the original song itself. An airy lower falsetto voice. And then the top note there, almost as high as your typical chorister is expected to sing. And it's such a natural sound he's able to do. Having a vocal diversity like this must be so cool, so fun. You can quite literally sing anything you want, really. Anyway, that line. Sliding into the dissonant subsequent resolution. He is singing in the same key as the Billie Eilish song, which makes comparisons easier, which I'm about to do regarding the harmony. He's changed the harmonic progression there. So in the original song, that same moment, let's find it and play it.
We were a pair.
So we kind of get these chords. E minor, C major 7, A major, A minor, but Tomi instead changes it. He starts with the same chord, E minor, but then instead of having this C major 7 as the chord number 2, he goes to G major instead. And then in the original, chords 3 and 4 are these, but then his chord number 3 is this final chord from the original. So if I restructure the chords in their basic form, we'll see how they are rising. We just get very rich harmonies, a lot of dissonances. I'm not going to point out every note everywhere because we'd be here all day.
But I saw you there. Too much to bear.
That's another interesting harmonic change.
Too much to bear.
This actually surprised me in Tomi's arrangement, and I really like that. You know, it keeps me engaged.
Too much.
I noticed the harmonic change. It's the most obvious thing to me. The bass line. So I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be a nice rising bass line, the next note. But no.
Too much to bear.
So in my opinion, I do like these very subtle changes that he does, specifically harmonically. A lot of the chords and the musical ideas and melodic motifs that we hear, they're prepared really well, but they do surprise us and catch us out at times as well. And in every phrase, one of the many parts will always stand out to me, such as here. Almost like that siren. Really enhancing the dissonance.
To everybody else.
And that's where we got to. So let's carry on.
That I'm falling for. You were never on my side. Fool me once, fool me twice. Are you death or paradise? Now you never see me cry. There's just no time to die. From my past return, another lesson yet to all that I'm falling for. You were never on my side. Fool me once, fool me twice. I did. Death to paradise. Now you never see me cry. There's just no time to die.
Very cool cover. I can only imagine how much time this took to make, especially if he did everything. Many hours, I am sure. Yeah, I think there were a lot of good things in that. The range, incredible. And it surprised me when he started singing up the octave in his chest voice. So that would be in the same pitch as Billie Eilish, such as here. She has a very distinctive voice. It almost sounded a bit broken there. Could be an adjective to describe it. I know a lot of people describe her voice as very whispery. I would use the word airy. Tomi, who seems like a natural bass, singing up there in his chest voice, he will have to use more power if he wants the full sound. And I really like how it creates such a different sound to the original song at the same moment in the song, but also how similar it is. You would have heard me use that description of something being different, but also similar in other a cappella reactions I've done, or even with like Jeff Castellucci, for example. And then the next phrase. Yeah, he makes it really not seem that high, but that is an A. Choral tenors typically don't really need to go above here too often. An A in the choral world is considered high for a tenor. And I like how we get this build up, the sound becoming huger essentially, and that goes straight into nice choice to just have several voices all in their head voice in the falsetto, the main voice quite airy, the ones in the background not so much. One part very high in the head voice, the other part significantly lower down in the head voice, accompanying the same melody. Yeah. Well, let's go through that second half. And again, I'll point out just the more interesting things. There's so much in there. And I know when I go and listen to this afterwards, as I always do several times, I'll be hearing many more things. This is a first listen, but we'll do our best. There's just a lot in there to try and unfold. If you've seen my videos by now, you'll know I like filth, good filth, which is on an infinite spectrum of how filthy it can get. But at the crux of it all, what I mean is just rich harmonies, non-standard harmonies, quite dissonant, not too dissonant as to be jarring on the ears. I like how Tomi finishes these phrases unresolved. So in other words, he's got a dissonant chord, plays it out, but then things just kind of fade out. We don't get a resolution like we might often do with dissonance. Suspensions are a good example of this, which you would have heard me talk about in my previous videos.
And I'm falling for love.
So let's deconstruct that chord at the end of that phrase. The two prominent notes are here and here. And if we complete the chord, A minor. But the other really prominent note is this one here. I like this because if you recall at the start, I mentioned the same note, but it was in a different context. Instead of an A minor chord, we had an E minor chord. And in that context, this note, note number 2, the supertonic, creates this suspended resolution. In the context we're hearing it now, though. And to bring all the notes closer together.
You were never on my side.
The melody doubled up the octave very subtly. And I think Tomi captures really well the movement of the music. I feel like with each phrase, we, like an ebb and flow, we really move into it and then come off and move into it. That's only possible if every single line is working together in the same way. It's not just about singing the same notes. It's not just about singing them in a tune, but matching all the other singers in terms of dynamic change or contrast, in terms of rhythmic change. That's why I always say it's a rarity to have a truly world-class a cappella group, because everyone has to be completely in line with everyone else in so many different regards. Tomi, he's singing with himself. He has complete autonomy over everything. So yeah, it must have been really fun for him to create this.
There's just no time to die.
There we have super, super low bass note, an A, down the octave, but I'll play it here so we can see. In the background, there was a part going, so in this case, it actually moves into the dissonance very kind of purposefully. If I bring up this note, listen for that in the background.
There's just no time to die.
He loves his dissonance, I can tell. Becoming a bit more free and open now with the harmonic changes. They're a bit more exaggerated.
I let it burn. You know.
We get some body percussion coming in. Otherwise, there's no beatbox. I liked the growth in this part as well.
Time to die.
Specifically the top line going. And then I'm thinking, oh, is it going to come back down? I can more feel the extreme low bass than I can hear it. It's something that you really need to have headphones on, I think, to hear.
Fool me twice, I disappear.
And then a reduction in the arrangement towards the end, everything moving lower down. Yeah, I think let's leave that one there. Super cool arrangement. The harmony brought about by his range, what he's able to do, how high he can go, how low he can go, the different types of voice he can use, how he can manipulate the sounds, all point towards, I think, or I would imagine, is his love of harmony and these dissonances that he likes getting in there. It just creates a really rich sound. It's a nice song originally anyway, and the harmony is quite strange. Not strange, but just non-standard. Tomi took it to another level in his own way. Let me know your thoughts down below if you've seen the Bond film or if you knew this song. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you'd like to support me, you can donate me a hot chocolate or two at the Buy Me a Coffee linked below. Or if you'd like to join the community, get access to exclusive perks not on YouTube, you can join the Patreon linked on the screen. And I will see you next time.